The storm had passed, but its echo lingered in the broken fences, the muddy roads, and in two hearts that had nearly lost each other. On the ranch porch, under a sky now impossibly full of stars, Emily stepped out, wrapping a blanket tightly around herself. The air was clean, crisp, and filled with the scent of damp earth and pine. She breathed it in, a silent prayer of thanks. "I thought the storm would never end," she whispered to the night. A soft sound behind her made her turn. It was Ethan, leaning against the doorframe. He was limping, a visible reminder of the chaos they had just endured. But he was smiling, a real, genuine smile that reached his eyes. "Neither did I," he said, his voice a low rumble that seemed to settle the very air around them. He pushed off the frame and took a hesitant step closer. "But you brought me back." Emily's heart gave a little flutter. She managed a small smile back. "You'd have done the same." He shook his head, his gaze intense. "I don't think anyone's ever done for me what you did, Emily." The space between them crackled with unspoken words. A raw, tender silence that was more powerful than any storm. He had been a stranger, a cowboy she was hired to work alongside, but in the heart of the tempest, when a falling beam had trapped him, she hadn't hesitated. She'd dug, she'd fought, she'd pulled him from the wreckage, refusing to let the storm claim him. Now, in the quiet aftermath, something new and fragile was taking root between them. The next morning, the ranch stirred back to life. The other hands went about their work, mending what was broken, their conversations light, pretending everything was normal. But for Emily, nothing was. As she served breakfast, a strange tension hung in the air. She could feel Ethan's eyes on her from across the room. When she met his gaze, he looked away quickly, a flicker of something unreadable in his expression. She knew what it was. There was still one truth between them, left untold, a secret hiding in plain sight. As she moved through the motions of the day, her mind raced. "Why didn't you just tell me who you are?" The question burned in her thoughts. Later that afternoon, she found him by the far pasture, his broad back to her, as he methodically repaired a section of fence damaged by a fallen tree. The rhythmic sound of his hammer was the only thing breaking the peaceful silence. She took a deep breath, clutching the folded, weathered piece of newspaper in her hand. "Ethan!" she called out. He stopped, turning slowly. He wiped his hands on his jeans, his eyes meeting hers. He knew. He could sense what was coming. She walked closer, her steps deliberate, until she was just a few feet away. "I found something," she said, her voice quiet but firm. She unfolded the paper. It was old from months ago, detailing a local land acquisition. A newspaper with your name, Ethan Hawthorne, the owner of this ranch. He let out a long, slow breath, his shoulders slumping slightly. He didn't deny it. "I didn't mean to hide it," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I didn't want you to treat me differently." Emily felt a sharp pang of hurt. "So you lied by silence?" she asked, the words tasting like betrayal. "I wanted to know if someone could see me," he explained, his gaze pleading. "Not the name, not the land, just me. The man who loves this place, who works it with his own two hands." His words hung in the air. She looked at him, torn between an anger she felt she had a right to, and an understanding that tugged at her heart. He hadn't lied to take advantage of her. He had lied to be seen for who he truly was. "And did you get your answer?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. He took a step closer, his presence filling her senses. "Not yet," he said softly, his eyes searching hers. "But I'm hoping I still can." She couldn't look at him anymore. The lie felt like a chasm between them. She turned away, a tear escaping and tracing a hot path down her cheek. That evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of purple and rose, Emily sat alone by the barn, staring out at the vast open land. She had come here for a job, for a fresh start, to escape a past where she had always felt like an outsider. She didn't come here for love, but love, it seems, has a way of finding those who least expect it, even when they're running from the truth. A soft glow approached, and she saw Ethan walking towards her, holding a small lantern that cast dancing shadows on the ground. He stopped a respectful distance away. "I never meant to hurt you," he said, his voice full of a remorse that felt genuine. She didn't look up. "You didn't," she said, her voice hollow. "You just made me feel like I didn't belong again." "You belong here, Emily," he said, his tone soft but certain. He took another step closer. "You belong with me." Finally, she turned to look at him. In the warm lantern light, his eyes held no secrets, no shadows. There was only honesty, hope, and a vulnerability that mirrored her own. He held out a hand, not to touch her, but as an invitation. After a moment's hesitation, she stood, and they began to walk, side by side, into the open field under the emerging stars. "This land, it's been in my family for generations," he began, his voice filled with a deep reverence. "For a long time, I thought it was all I needed. I thought owning it, working it, that was my purpose." He paused, turning to face her fully under the brilliant canopy of the Texas sky. "Then you came, and I realized, all this means nothing without someone to share it with." A tearful smile touched Emily's lips. "You sure you're not just dizzy from the fall?" she teased, her voice thick with emotion. He chuckled, a low, warm sound. "Maybe," he admitted, his smile reaching his eyes. "But if this is a dream, I don't want to wake up." They stood there for a long moment, the universe sprawling above them. His hand found hers, their fingers brushing, then lacing together. It felt right. It felt like coming home. Under the endless sky, the secrets finally faded away, replaced by something far stronger, far more resilient. Truth, forgiveness, and a love that had weathered the storm and finally found its voice. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a like and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what happens next. We'll see you in the next one.